on my own. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames won't burn us.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm doing What If Deku Had Re-Equip, Part 1. If you watch this video till the very end, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and while you're at it, United States of, smash the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video, because you wouldn't want to miss out on Part 2 of this video, or a different video. So yeah, please, if you do watch this video till the end, hit the like button. Because lately, some of my videos haven't been getting the views that they need, and I need you to hit the like button so I get on the recommended. And if I don't get on the recommended, I don't get views. And if I don't get views, I don't get new subscribers. So I don't mean to be beggy, but I need these to keep my channel alive. So I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for you to join some stupid Patreon or any of that. I'm just asking for you to hit the like button if you watch till the end. Because I don't want my channel to die. I want to keep posting for you guys, but if I don't get the views that I need, then my channel won't be able to survive. If my channel dies, then I won't post. So please, do hit the like button. So yeah, so we're gonna start when Deku was just a baby. So as soon as Deku was born, Inko wanted a girl. So one day she took Deku, like maybe when he was 4 years old. She took Deku out into a bandit-infested forest and left him there. She just left him in the middle of a bandit and forest and ran off. Deku, I'm gonna say a month later, Deku has been surviving in the forest off of raw animals, like raw rabbits and all that. And he comes across a village with a bunch of bandits, like a bandit village. And he's inside and he steals food. So every night he would come back to the village, steal food, and leave. Come back to the village, steal food, leave. One night, one of the bandits' chiefs saw him take the food, and he attacked Deku. He almost killed Deku, but he realized how much Deku was like him when he was a child. He had no father, he had no mother, he was all alone. But then the village chief, or bandit chief, whatever, the founder of the bandit corporation or criminal enterprise, whatever, found him and took him in. So he thought about this, and he let Deku survive, and he started taking care of Deku. So from a very young age, Deku was trained to steal, fight, and survive. Steal, fight, and survive. One day, a villain attacked their base because the bandits have been stealing the villain's supplies. So he attacks and he kills everyone. Deku was hiding and he saw the man who took him in die right before him. And he ran into the forest before the villain could kill him. So Deku's just wandering around, and he comes across a home. that has a bunch of obstacle courses, a bunch of targeting things, some sword dummies that you would, slash with your sword and stuff like that. And he finds a giant table full of food. Like, there is a giant turkey, there's a bunch, like 4 hams, there is grapes, there are salads, there's ramen, there's all kinds of food on this table. And this table has 4 seats. And he looks around and he sees no one, so he goes up to the table and he sits down and he starts devouring into the feast that laid before him. The father, who just got done training with his kids, finds Deku devouring the food. Like, Deku has already eaten at least half of the food. And here, let me clear some things up. Deku is around 7 years old when this is taking place. Like, right during this time that I'm talking about, right now. When the bandits found him, he was 4, and now when he's eating this food, he's 7. So yeah, he's just devouring the food, and then the father comes out, busts down the door, pulls out his sword, and is about to chop, he swings his sword right at Deku's neck, and he holds it there, and he asks, what is Deku doing? Deku doesn't know how to respond to this, because bandits aren't supposed to be caught. They steal, and they go before anyone knows. And so Deku's just kind of sitting there with a blank expression with a turkey leg stuffed in his mouth. He's just kind of sitting there with a pale face. The father screams at Deku, "What are you doing here? Give me your name!" Deku's just sitting there with the turkey leg in his mouth. And then the father whacks him with the end of the katana. Not the sharp end, but the handle grip. He just kind of boom! He hits him in the head, knocking Deku out. And then the drumstick, sadly, falls to the ground. Rip turkey leg. Rip turkey leg. Everyone, put rip turkey leg in the comment section right now. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. We'll remember you, turkey leg. Let's give this turkey leg a moment of silence. And then Deku wakes up. And he starts yelling, asking where he is, saying he wants to be let go. No, screaming he wants to be let go. Then the father comes in and asks him, "Why were you stealing our food?" And then Deku bursts into tears and says, "My entire village was slaughtered by a villain. Yes, we were bandits, but we didn't deserve to be slaughtered. They were the only people I had. My mother abandoned me at 4 years old. 4 years old." The father immediately takes empathy for him, but he wants to know why he decided to... What is that in that window? Is that just a light, or am I seeing the Avatar looking back at me? I think I've had too much Coke. When I say Coke, I mean... No, is it Dr. Pepper that I'm drinking? Hold on, let me give it a taste. Is that Pepsi? I don't know. Either way, I think I've had too much sugar. As I literally think I see the Avatar in that window over there. I think I'm doing way too many what ifs. I think I'm going crazy. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Aang, no, you don't want this smoke. You don't want this smoke, Aang. Yeah, keep on staring at me. Keep staring at me. Oh, sorry, I think I got off track. Okay, back to the what if. So, where did I leave off? Where did I leave off? I think I'm going crazy. Where did I leave off? I got off track way too fast. Okay, well, I don't exactly remember where I left off, but I'm just gonna say I left off here. So, the father asks, "Why did you choose to rob our house?" And then Deku says, "Because I haven't eaten and I saw a giant table full of food. I'm sorry. I didn't know you had an entire family waiting to eat that. I'm sorry. I was hungry. I was sad. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me." And I'm going to say in this village, the bandits taught Deku how to trick their victims if they were to find him. Deku does show a little bit of empathy in his words because, you know, it's a family that was really wanting to eat that food, was worked very hard today and was ready to eat that food, but, you know, Deku was hungry and he needed it. So, yeah. So the father decides he's going to take Deku in. So, the father leaves the room that he was holding Deku in, and he talks to his wife about it. And she says, "I would love to," because she feels sorry for Deku, and she doesn't want him wandering around in a forest by himself. Especially when there was a villain that killed his entire bandit village around. Because the bandits in this area, I'm going to say, are highly trained. So for this villain just to come in and exterminate them all, he would have to be pretty strong. So the mom doesn't want to leave him out here alone. So the father takes Deku in, and the father starts training him how to use a sword because the father thought Deku was quirkless. But while they were training, sparring, Deku used his quirk, and his quirk allowed him to create a sword out of thin air. So the father immediately pulls out his real sword, because they were both using wooden swords, because he knew that Deku was ready. So they start battling it out. Deku then re-equips, is what I'm going to say Deku calls it. Get it? Because that's his quirk's name. So he re-equips into an axe, and he slams it down on into the ground, and he's trying to pull it up. Then the father goes for a swing, almost cutting Deku's head off. I mean, almost. When I say almost, I mean he wouldn't have allowed it to cut his head off, but you get what I'm saying. So then Deku pulls it out of the ground, and he swings it, and then he re-equips into a spear, and he's kind of going at long-range battles, phew, phew. And then he jumps over the father, re-equips the wooden sword, and taps him on the neck. And Deku won. The father is a master swordsman, so I'm going to say he was only using about, 20% of his real power. So, Deku and the father, I'm going to call him, Kinji. Yeah, that's not bad. So, Kinji, trains Deku, and he trains him. And on days when they're not training, he's either playing with the other kids, the Kinji's kids. I'm gonna say Kinji has a daughter and a son. The son's quirk is going to be weapon manipulation. No. Man. I don't know what his quirk should be. I think it's going to be called poisonous dagger. And that quirk allows any weapon he touches to become poisonous. So say he cuts you with a sword that he has all 5 fingers on, you will instantly be poisoned by that, and within at least 5 minutes you will die. And then the daughter's quirk is called Beautiful Dagger. Man, sorry. Man. And what that quirk allows is to put the victim, whoever gets, cut with her sword, falls into a deep, beautiful coma, where in the coma they have a dream that they're in a beautiful meadow full of flowers. And if they don't wake up within a day, they will die by a pink snake. So that's why it's called Beautiful Dagger, because of the flowers and the pretty snake. So both quirks are dangerous. And then the father's quirk allows him to have full mastery of whatever weapon he touches. And it also allows him to manipulate the weapons, like say float them around himself and like make them do things, like say he could make them duel someone. It would basically look like an invisible man is holding a sword and dueling with someone. That's what it would look like. Like the invisible man is holding a sword and he can make the invisible man duel with whoever he chooses. So that's what it looks like. So yeah. He's having fun. Every day he would go out and train, and then he would come back, have a good meal, and then on the weekends he would get to play and have fun. And the Kinji is like a father to him, and the mother, I'm gonna call her Kim, is like a mother to him. They both treat him as if they're their own kin. So they are dueling one night. All of the the mother's quirk. I forgot to explain it. The mother's quirk allows her to say there's a sword in front of her. If she touches it with all 5 fingers, she can turn that sword into, say, a tree. She can turn it into whatever she wants. So if she wants a new house or, say, a new car, she can turn it into one of those. But she mainly uses it to turn it into other weapons. And say she does turn it into a car, that car will become lightweight and can be used as a weapon. So yeah. And yes, the father could manipulate whatever she creates, because it was a sword at one time, so he can still manipulate it. So yeah. One night they're training, like they're having a giant tournament. Like the father, Kinji, the daughter, the son, and Kim are all involved. Oh yeah, that's a little bit too late for that. So then, while, it's come down to the last 2 survivors, the last 2 people in the tournament, Kinji and Deku. So Deku is like kind of moving around, and then he launches at Kinji with his wooden sword. So Kinji manipulates Deku's wooden sword into almost hitting him, but Deku dodges and then punches Kinji in the stomach, and then punches him in the face, then punches him in the what is this body called? The liver. And then he swoops Kinji off his feet, and then re-equips the wooden sword and is about to hit Kinji, but then Kinji dodges it. Like, he somehow dodges it. Or, like, rolls out of the way. He rolls out of the way. He kicks Deku's knee, or shin. And, Deku's like, ah, man, that hurt. That's cheating. And then Kinji uppercuts Deku straight in the chin, knocking Deku straight into a tree. And then he launches at Deku with his wooden sword. And then he slashes at Deku, just barely misses Deku's hair. And then Deku kicks Kinji in the stomach. But then a villain walks in. And he asks, this is a pretty event, isn't it? The moon is out, and just a couple people fighting. It's very peaceful, isn't it? And he walks up to Kinji and he asks, I want All Might dead. Will you help me? And join me? And he holds his hand out. But then Kinji pulls his sword, or like he pulls out his sword, because he always has his sword like attached to his hip. So he draws his sword. That's what it's called. So he draws his sword and he tries to cut off the villain's hand, but the sword just immediately shatters. And then the villain just with like one swift motion punches Kinji straight in the chest, launching him through the house into a wall. The son sees this and he immediately launches at the villain and attempts to slash him. He does slash him. He slashes a tiny bit of clothing off, but then the villain gets mad at this because... Alright, here we go. So, the villain says, what the? Man, I just got these drawing cleaned. Ugh. So then he grabs the son by his face and he lifts him up. And then he says, your quirk will be useful. And he takes the son's quirk and then throws him through a tree. Then the mother gets involved and she turns her katana into a monster truck and she slams it on the villain. But the villain just holds the monster truck up. The mother keeps on trying to crush him with the truck, but she can't. Then the truck gets launched straight into the air, but then the villain's nowhere to be seen. But the villain just kicked the truck, or the monster truck, straight into the mom, knocking her out. Because, it is lightweight, but that's when you're holding it. If you were to attack someone with it, it would be like you're attacking them with a full-weighted car, like someone just rammed straight into you with a car. It'll still have the same amount of force. It's just lighter weight to hold on to. So yeah, the mom gets knocked out immediately. And then the villain goes over to steal her quirk, but then the daughter comes by and she actually cuts him. And then the stranger kind of falls asleep while he's standing up, but then his arm aims towards the girl, and a shockwave, like the air ripples around her, and then boom! An invisible hand basically just punched her straight in the gut, launching her through like 3 trees, and then impaling her. The villain wakes up from the coma and says, wow, that was a nice dream. But not deadly enough. Oops. Well. Oh well. They're criminals and they don't deserve to be in my world. Then the father gets back up and he launches at the villain. But then the villain uses some kind of quirk to go... So, the villain uses quirk activation and impales the son, and then he drags him over in front of him, and then the father impales the son straight through the heart, and then the villain dodges, and they both fall to the ground. And then Kenji and the son fall to the ground. Kenji bursts out in tears. He starts questioning what has he done. Oh, the wind. It's getting windy. And he keeps on screaming, and then he screams it, "What have I done?" And then the villain walks over and says his name. "Hi, my name is One for All. Would you like to agree to my terms and join me?" And he screams, "No!" But then Deku launches at him with tears running down his face, and he screams, "What have you done?" And he re-equips into an axe, and he swings right at the villain. But then the villain punches Deku straight through the fireplace, sending chars onto the walls, setting fire to the house. And then the father, or Kenji, has had enough. He gets up and he launches at the villain. But then the villain, with one swift motion, kills Kenji. He grabs Kenji's head and crushes it. Deku woke up just in time to watch as his master, no, his father, gets his head crushed and then thrown through a tree. The mother wakes up to see this. She gets up and she turns a tree branch into an RPG. And she's about to fire it when she realizes she can't feel her own heartbeat anymore. And she looks down to see quirk activation through her chest, impaling her straight through the heart. Then she's thrown up into the air, and then 50 punches blow 50 holes into her. She falls to the ground, blood everywhere, and then she dies. Deku is there to see it all happen. He screams at the top of his lungs, but the villain already got away. The house is on fire. His father, his mother, his sister, his brother, all dead right in front of him. Deku swore on that day that he would kill every single villain who dares hurt anyone. So, now I'm going to say Deku is like 13. He got into like someone, so he eventually found Inko, who had a daughter. She didn't want him, but she took him in because she didn't want him telling the police of what she had done. She realizes it was a stupid move and she regrets it, but she did what she did, so she had to pay by taking him in. The daughter she had is about a month old, and Deku is around 12 years old. So Deku goes straight into middle school, and immediately Bakugo bullies the crap out of him. Because Bakugo remembers him back when, him and Deku were 3 years old. He remembers this quirkless loser. So he's constantly bullying Deku. But Deku, takes no notice to Bakugo, because Deku is like Erza. He has been scarred for life, and he just takes no notice to anyone. He is serious all the time, and it takes a super long time to get him to not only trust you, but to make him smile in your presence. So yeah. So now we're gonna skip to the end of middle school. So, Deku, the teacher says, "Alright, it's time to decide what you guys are gonna be when you guys grow up." And then he throws the papers into the air and says, who cares? I know you all want to be heroes. And then everyone starts using their quirks, but then Bakugo says, don't put me in a class with any of these B-listers. And everyone gets super mad at Bakugo, but Bakugo just screams, Shut up, you all know it's true. And then Deku says, well, doesn't that mean you're a B-lister also? Because I'm the only one here that can actually have not only the guts, but the wisdom to get into UA. Don't take any offense to that, guys. I aimed it towards Bakugo. And everyone's like, Will, why are we in the crosshair of this? And Deku says, I really don't care. So then class ends, and Deku's walking home, but then Bakugo slams him into a wall and says, who do you think you were talking to, you quirkless loser? But then Bakugo notices something. Deku already has a knife to his throat. And Deku says, if you ever jump me like that again, you won't survive the next encounter. Then Deku punches Bakugo straight in the gut, knocking him out. And then he puts the knife in his inventory, basically, because Ursa has like some kind of other earthly inventory system, basically, and she can also create swords, I guess. I don't know. I only watched the Netflix version, and that didn't really give a lot of intel into that. And it's also definitely mixed up compared to the Crunchyroll version. I might watch that, but I think it's way too confusing. And certain episodes I may have already watched on Netflix, so I don't want to go through that. So yeah. Back to this story. So Deku's walking home, but then he jumps out of the way as the sludge villain knocks through the sewer pipage, or sewage, or the little gate thing, and then he tries to attack Deku, but he notices Deku already jumped out of the way, and he turns towards Deku, and he's like, man, you have some fast reflexes, kid. How the heck do you already know? How did you know? And Deku says, no more talking. You attempted to hurt me, so I am giving you a death sentence. And then he launches at the sludge villain, and then all of a sudden the sludge villain is turned into 14 little goopy pieces. And then he's splattered all across the walls. But then the sludge villain reforms, and then says, was that all you got? You have to turn me into rainwater in order to kill me. And then Deku says, well, I can make that happen. And then he cuts the sludge villain into 20 little goopy pieces. The sludge villain is like, how is this kid so fast? He reforms and attacks Deku. He grapples onto Deku, but then all of a sudden, his arms are cut straight off. And then he's turned into 30 little goopy pieces. And then he reforms and he's like, what the heck is up with this kid? But then Deku launches at the sludge villain, but then Deku notices something. He's moving way too slow. So the sludge villain grabs onto him, grabs both of his arms first off, and then grapples onto him fully. Deku is now incapacitated. He cannot move his arms. He can't summon a sword to cut himself loose. He's stuck. But then All Might appears and says, I am here. And then he notices, oh, that's the sludge villain I've been chasing. Well, sorry about that. And then he says, Detroit, smash! And then the sludge villain is immediately knocked out. All Might puts him in a jar. Deku is, inside of his mind, is geeking out. But, like, outside of his mind, he looks, like, almost angry. He's that serious. All Might's like, don't worry, I already signed your notebook. And he's about to jump away, but then Deku grabs his shoulder and slams him into the ground. All Might's like, that hurt. What was that for? I just saved your life. Deku says, you incompetent fool. You shouldn't have let him out in the first place. If you aren't careful enough, he could have killed someone. Which he almost did kill me. And All Might's like, dang, kid, calm down. No, I cannot calm down. You are supposed to be the number one hero, and you let a villain like that get away. He was attempting to hurt people, and you allowed him to get away. No. If you allow that to happen again. And then Deku starts walking away. All Might is like, okay. And then he jumps away. But All Might didn't notice, but he didn't put the sludge villain in his pocket far enough. So the sludge villain falls out. So Deku's walking home, and then he sees a giant crowd of people. And then he looks and he sees the sludge villain. And he's like, oh my gosh. All Might is going to get a few words from me. And maybe even a lost limb. So he starts walking to the front, and then one of the heroes is like, I'm afraid you can't. And then he's immediately knocked out. He starts walking up. None of the heroes want to even dare mess with him. They're just like, okay, we'll let All Might deal with this as soon as he gets here. So then the sludge villain's like, you again? No, stay away from me. He's my hostage. I'll kill him. And then Bakugo is immediately freed from the sludge villain and then pushed all the way to the heroes. And then the sludge villain is turned into 100 little goopy pieces of sludge villain. And then those pieces were turned into 50 small goopy pieces. The sludge villain reforms and he's like, oh, you're gonna get it, kid. And he punches Deku, but then Deku goes in to punch him, but then he realizes punching isn't going to be very effective. So he dodges and then he re-equips a torch. Because he thinks if it's like some kind of slime, it should be able to catch fire. So he puts the torch inside of the sludge villain, and the sludge villain wails in pain. And then Deku turns the sludge villain into 100 pieces again, and then he throws the torch onto those little pieces, like at least, he turned at least 20 of those little pieces into vapor when they fell to the ground. So then the sludge villain reforms and he notices something. He's missing an eye. And he's like, oh, you're going to pay, kid. But then All Might was sitting in the back watching this. He watched this amazing bravery. He watched the seriousness on his face during a severe situation. He knew that the villain had a hostage, but he handled it with pristine accuracy. Like any of the number 5, like any of the top 5 heroes would have done. He acted like them. He acted like All Might would. He acted serious. He didn't seem to show any bits of being scared. He did it. So All Might got the boost he needed to buff up and then Delaware smash the sludge villain. The sludge villain, each and every piece of the sludge villain was turned to vapor. which turned into rain. Deku's like, I never knew All Might had such amazing power. But then the heroes walk up to him and they're like, kid, you can't be doing that. You knocked out a hero. Do you have any respect for your elders? But then Deku says, no, I have no respect for you. You guys didn't do your job when he was threatening to kill a teenager who hasn't gotten to live out their fullest life. You sat back and allowed him to take advantage of an underage minor. So no, I have no respect for you at all. So then he walks away. The heroes want to go and arrest him, but they're like, did we just get roasted by a 13-year-old? Did he just set us in our places? We're pro-heroes, dang it, and what? So they're just kind of sitting there shocked. They are shocked at how mature this kid is. So they're just kind of sitting there with shocked, pale faces as they watch him walk away. So Deku's walking, and then he sees this man. And he immediately equips a sword because the man looks very sketchy. And he thinks it may be a villain. A very skinny villain. But then the guy says, hold on, it's me, All Might. And he's like, there's no chance you're... And then the skinny guy buffs into All Might. He's like, what? And then he, de-equips his sword. And then All Might explains his injury. And then he explains how, he has a passing down quirk. And he asks the big question, what if I could pass down my quirk? Sorry. I just said he explained that. Okay, so, would you like my quirk? And that's where I'm going to end it off here. I know this was a long one, but I think I did this pretty dang good. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did watch till the end, then you did enjoy this, so, yeah. Okay. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And while you're at it, United States of, smash the bell icon to be notified when part 2 to this video comes out, or even a different what if, or maybe even a gaming video, or a live stream. You don't want to miss out on those, do you? No, you don't. So, yeah. Peace out, guys.